Today we are at Les Ambassadeurs Luxemburg to look at watches from two community favorites, the Omega Planet Ocean 600 meter and the Tudor Pelagos. Tudor standing for absolute value for money and Omega kind of bridging the gap between Tudor and, let's say, more high-end brands like Rolex. Of course, both of these watches are very much luxury watches, but let's have a look how they compare. So now we are talking about 500 meter water resistance and 600 meter water resistance. The Tudor Pelagos is also made out of titanium, which makes it quite light for this large watch. And it has the addition of a helium escape valve, which is hidden in the case, which is something I prefer much more than the helium escape valve at 10 o'clock. We have about 2,000 euros between these watches. The Planet Ocean is 43.5 millimeter in stainless steel, the case as well as the bracelet. The Pelagos is 42 millimeters and has a titanium and stainless steel case. Dive watches are not my go-to, but if, then I would prefer a smaller dive watch. But how about you? Do you prefer like these really big and really capable dive watches, or do you also prefer a more daily driver? Let us know in the comments below. Again, the Pelagos has a great 70-hour power reserve, while the Planet Ocean has a 60-hour power reserve, so 10 hours more on the Tudor. Besides that, the Pelagos caliber MT5612 is a very sturdy COSC certified movement, so you can expect an average accuracy of -4 + 6 seconds per day. Other than that, it is a standard COSC movement, which is more than enough. And again, Tudor offers incredible value, while for the 2,000 euros you pay extra for the Omega, you get a few additional features. The movement in the Omega, the caliber 8900, is superior to the Tudor caliber in most regards except for the power reserve. It is very anti-magnetic to up to 15,000 Gauss or 1.5 Tesla. Omega's coaxial movements also need less lubrication and thus will theoretically remain more accurate over longer times when the watch isn't serviced. It has a COSC certification just like the Tudor, but on top of that it also has a METAS certification, making it a master chronometer. This adds additional tests also for the power reserve. So while the Pelagos has 10 hours more power reserve, I couldn't find out how the COSC actually winds the watch during testing, so it is possible that the Pelagos might keep less good time during the end of its power reserve. But on top of that, you of course get the ceramic in the bezel and on the dial, and you also get a beautiful open case back. And these coaxial movements are really beautiful with their kind of spiral shaped Côte de Genève. You also get beautiful applied Omega logo as well as numerals at 12, 9 and 6 and metal indices in between. Whereas the dial on the Pelagos is incredibly legible and clearly referencing the legendary Tudor snowflake dial of its Submariner, but it is cheaper in production and less luxurious, as it, by the looks of it, is made out of plastic. Don't quote me on this one, as I couldn't really find any information about this, but I think the raised chapter ring introduces a very nice three-dimensional look to the watch. And this also very nicely illustrates the quintessential difference between the Pelagos and the Seamaster. The Pelagos is clearly more purpose-built, as it is a very lightweight watch out of titanium. It is incredibly legible with its snowflake hands and lots of lume, and it has an outstanding clasp. The Planet Ocean is a great dive watch, while still remaining a very obviously luxurious watch. Two things which don't necessarily always go well together. Both of these watches have ceramic bezels, but still the Tudor Pelagos bezel looks like a vintage-inspired aluminum bezel, as the ceramic has this brushed finish. This also of course fits the dial of the Pelagos, as it is also more of a matte black dial, yielding an incredible legibility on this watch, which makes sense for a dive watch of this caliber. The Planet Ocean also has a ceramic bezel and again also a ceramic dial. As the ceramic dial is reflective, I would say the Tudor is a little more legible, but of course both of these watches being hardcore dive watches are very legible at a glance. All in all, the Omega looks a little more shiny. It has a more shiny dial and indices, whereas the Tudor goes more to the tool watch look, as everything is brushed, everything is matte and very legible, of course, black on white. This time, both of these watches have a date function and both feature amazing clasps with great tool-free adjustments. Let's start with the Omega clasp. You have a double deployant clasp with a very nice pusher extension for tool-free adjustment on the go, which is something that is really practical and I love to see it on a watch. But the Tudor clasp is outstanding. I think if you're looking for a tool watch clasp, there is no better clasp than the Tudor Pelagos clasp. It might look a little more utilitarian, but it is very, very well adjustable. I let Nelly explain it here in our comparison video between the Rolex Submariner and Tudor Pelagos, as he actually owns the watch and has experienced this clasp.
We have this system where you can adjust it to 3 positions to adjust it to your wrist if your wrist swells up during the day, and then the last positions where you have these 6 larger dots, you have this spring system which adjusts automatically when your wrist would swell up even more.
And on top of that also features a fold-out dive extension to wear this watch over your dive suit or in the winter over your winter coat. Both bracelets are very sturdy, and the Omega bracelet is much more pretty on the Planet Ocean in my opinion, as it is a little more understated, a simple 3-link design. We see the same 3-link design on the Tudor Pelagos, but as it is a titanium bracelet it feels a little more light, but to me that is not necessarily a nice thing. I like heavy watches if they are made out of stainless steel. I think always having a lighter watch is practical, but feels always a little less luxury to me. You also get an additional Tudor pin buckle rubber strap with your watch, which is always a very nice touch in my opinion and makes the watch even lighter if that's what you prefer. So in my opinion, the Tudor is for you if you want to save a little money, if you want to have a tool watch look, and if you hate the helium escape valve when it's showing on the outside. On top of that, you get a 70-hour power reserve on the Tudor and a very, very sturdy watch with an incredible clasp. You should go for the Omega if you like ceramic on your watch, if you like your watch to always look like it's new. If you enjoy maybe this gimmicky helium escape valve, to be honest, it makes more sense on the Planet Ocean than on the Seamaster 300, but I think as it is possible to hide it in the case, I don't know, why not do it? But if you like it, this is the watch to go for. It has a very, very sturdy build quality. The clasp is great, but doesn't offer a fold-out extension, except maybe I missed it. And of course, the Omega is a little more expensive, but gets you this master chronometer certification, which is really the top of the game right now. One thing you should consider when you choose between one of these watches is that the Seamaster comes in a host of different looks, different materials from different dials and bezels, and even different kinds of gem settings, which is something I didn't expect. But more importantly, it also comes in smaller sizes, so be aware of that when you choose. By the way, a big thank you to Les Ambassadeurs Luxemburg for allowing us to film their beautiful watches. If you are in Luxembourg, then definitely come check them out. They have many, many very interesting watch brands and they are always very nice. They will show you whatever you want. Yeah, to finish off, Tudor is still the king of value for money, whereas the master certification on Omega's watches is really something great to have. It is really the top of certifications. Omega offers a beautiful watch full of ceramic, full of untarnishing materials that will look great forever. I also feel like the Omega watches are a little more substantial. Their bracelets are a little thicker and they just feel a little more luxury to me, but that's something personal for me. I always like my luxury items to be quite heavy. Yeah, that concludes this little comparison and I finished this video with my hands full of watches, but let me know how you enjoyed this content and which one of these watches you would prefer if you had the choice. Thank you guys for watching. See you.